Digital Literacy, Operating System Types and Features, Part 1. Lab Topology. During your session, you will have access to the following lab configuration. Depending on the exercises, you may or may not use all the devices, but they are shown here in the layout to get an overall understanding of the topology of the lab. PLABDC01 Windows Server 2016 Domain Controller. Second one is PLAB Win10 Windows 10 Domain Member. Then the third one is PLAB CENTOS CentOS Server. Then the fourth one is PLAB Win 810 Windows 8.1 Domain Member. Last one is PLAB Win 701 Windows 7 Domain Member. So, Exercise 1, Comparison of the Windows 7, 8.1, and 10. An operating system is an essential software that runs on computers. So, softwares that runs on smartphones and tablets. It manages the computer's hardware, memory, processes, and other software. Most common desktop operating systems are as follows: Microsoft Windows, Apple's Mac OS, Linux. Common types of smartphone operating systems are Apple's OS, Google's Android, Microsoft's Windows Phone. In this exercise, you will look at three versions of Windows: Windows 7, Windows 8, Win 8.1, and Win 10. Windows 7 is the oldest version among these. Windows 10 is the latest version, and Windows 8.1 was released in between. While Windows 7 was designed mostly for laptop and desktop users, Microsoft made big changes in the design of the Windows 8 for touchscreen and tablet users. Windows 10 brought the balance in design for the tablets of the desktop users. In Windows 10, Microsoft has introduced Cortana, which is a voice assistant that facilitates voice search. Windows 10 has a different web browser named Microsoft Edge. In the earlier versions of Windows, Internet Explorer was the default web browser. Windows 10 has more enhanced security features compared to earlier versions of Windows. For example, a feature called Windows Defender Device Guard, which is useful for blocking malicious software by screening unsigned programs and apps. Just like every product, shelf life Windows also has an end date where Microsoft stops providing support and updates. Here are the dates for these three versions of Windows after which Microsoft will stop its extended support. Windows 7 Service Pack 1 January 14, 2020. Windows 8.1 January 10, 2023. And the third one is Windows 10 October 14, 2025. Windows 8 and Windows 8.1 were designed to incorporate features required for tablet operating systems. In these operating systems, a feature was introduced where a user can download an app from the cloud storage. Also, the graphical user interface was made more user-friendly. The Start menu, which was removed from the Windows 8 and 8.1, was reintroduced in Windows 10. Windows 10 also has a voice assistant feature called Cortana. In Windows 10, feature called Universal Apps is introduced to make transactions across devices seamless. Windows 10 also offers a cloud storage service which is known as Microsoft OneDrive. In this exercise, you will learn about the interface and search differences. Learning outcomes. After completing this exercise, you will be able to know the interface differences. You search your devices. You will be using the following devices in this app. Please power this on now. So I'm going to power on is the first one is PLABDC01, which is already on right now. So the second one is PLAB Win10, Windows 10 domain member. So we're just gonna go power this on while we're waiting for that to load. Let's go on the third one, and which is PLAB Win 810. Okay, so let's power this one. Then the last one is PLAB Win 701. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. So task number 1. Know the interface differences. When comparing different versions of Windows, users will need to understand that there are two types of differences, visible and hidden. The visible differences would be something that can be seen, such as a desktop or an interface. The hidden would be something that is not visible to the user, such as performance or component upgrade that does not directly interact with the user. For example, Windows 10 has DirectX 12. Windows 8.1 had DirectX 11.2, and Windows 7 had DirectX 11. To know the interface differences between the different versions of Windows, perform the following steps. Step 1. We will start with Windows 7. Ensure all the required devices are powered on. Connect to PLAB Win 701. So let's connect to this one. Notice that it has a clean interface that only icon on the desktop with the default installation will be recycled bin. So step 2, click start. The start menu is displayed by the default. Few items were already pinned on the right section of the start menu. Okay, so let's click this one. Okay, so on step 3, click all the programs. Okay, all programs. Okay, step 4. A set of applications are neatly organized. So click back. Okay, so let's just go click this one. Okay, so on step 5, click anywhere on the desktop to close the start menu. Notice that there are only two options to choose from. Okay, let's continue to step 6. Now you will look at Windows 8.1. Okay, let's just go find Windows 8.1. 8, 8, 8, 10. That's okay, that's my error. Windows 8, 10. Okay. Okay. Notice that the desktop interface is almost the same as Windows 7. However, there are two key differences. The Start button is no longer available. It is replaced with a Start charm. The the look of the system tray is now different. It is now merged with the taskbar. So as you can see, it's way different than the first one. Okay, so on step 7, click the Start charm. Okay, so notice that there is no standard menu, but rather Metro UI is displayed. This was a significant change in Windows 8. Okay, then step 8. To find an application, you can move the cursor to the bottom left side and click down arrow. Okay, so let's just go scroll down and click this one. Then step 9. From the apps page, you could select the required application, then go click the up arrow. Okay, so let's continue on step 10. Another way to find an application is search for it specifically. Back on the start screen, you can search for an application simply by beginning to type its name. A search page is displayed and shows the results found. Okay, so in step 11, now we will cover Windows 10. Connect to PLAB Win 10. Okay. Notice that the desktop is again similar to Windows 7 and 8. 1 point. However, there is a change in the taskbar. A search is now included in the taskbar. Just like Windows 8.1, it is also includes the start charm. Okay, so step 12, click the start charm. Okay, notice that the menu is similar to the Windows 7 menu. The bottom left of the menu has a few new options. Login, user, documents, pictures, settings, power. Okay, on task 2, use search. Other than the visual differences, Windows 7, 8.1, and 10 also have differences in the way they handle search. In this task, you will learn to use search across different versions of Windows. Step 1. Connect to PLAB Win 10, Win 701. Okay, let's just go scroll down and click this one. Then click Start. And in the search programs and files text box, type the following, which is this one. Let's just go copy this and go you control picture. So notice that the result is shown Windows 7. Search could search for files and folders on the local system, as well as on the network shares. In step 2, connect to PLAB Win 810. Okay, click the start charm. The start page is displayed. Click the search icon present on the top right hand side of the window. Okay, so let's just go slide this one on the bottom and then click the search icon. Okay, so let's continue to step 3. Click the drop down and observe that there are options for performing a search. Keep the default selections of everywhere. Okay, so it's already set. Okay, so on step 4, type the following in the search text box. Okay, let's continue. Step 4, type the following in the search text box. I will just go copy this one and type it here. Okay, so let's check it. Notice that the results are instantly displayed. So, which is help and support. On Windows 8.1, search includes results from Bing and App Store. Step 5, connect to PLAB Win 10. Okay, so let's click on this one. Click inside the type here to search text box in the taskbar. Okay, so let's just go tap this one. Click this one. Okay. This feature is called Cortana. Cortana is a more advanced search facility compared to previous search facilities that were available in the earlier versions of Windows. Okay. And step 6, type the following inside the type here to search text box, which is Google. Let's just go copy this one, copy, then go paste it here. Okay. So, step 7, the Microsoft Edge browser opens and search is performed by using the Bing search engine for the search item, which is Google. This feature was not available in earlier versions of Windows. Okay, let's just go click this one. Okay. Okay, close Microsoft Edge browser. Okay, let's go um, forward. Okay, exercise 2. Comparison of 32-bit and 64-bit operating systems. 32-bit operating systems were used until approximately 2009, and since then, 64-bit operating systems have been widely used in personal computers. The 64-bit operating system became more popular because of their ability to handle a higher amount of memory. Applications are becoming bigger and are requiring more memory. The 32-bit operating systems cannot handle the memory requirements of these applications. Therefore, the usage of 64-bit operating systems increase. In this exercise, you will learn about the differences between a 32-bit and 64-bit operating system. Learning outcomes. After completing this exercise, you will be able to know the key differences between 32-bit and 64-bit operating systems. Verify a 64-bit operating system. Your devices. You will be using the following devices in this lab. Please power on this on now, which will be PLAB Win 10. Okay, okay. Windows 10 domain member. Okay. Know that Know the key differences between 32-bit and 64-bit operating systems. The main difference between 32-bit and 64-bit operating systems is support for a specific type of processor. A 32-bit operating system will work with the 32-bit processor. It can also work with the 64-bit processor, but the RAM limitations will still be 4 gig. A 64-bit operating system will work only with the 64-bit processor. RAM limitations. When it comes to accessing RAM random access memory to number of bits in the operating system, which is the OS, plays a crucial part. Essentially, the higher the number of bits, the larger the amount of RAM that can be handled effectively. Also, having a higher number of bits in the OS means that a higher quantity of locations can be accessible at one time. For example, with a 32-bit operating system, it is possible to access 32 bytes of addressable memory at a time, which is 4 gig of memory. In comparison, a 64-bit operating system can access 264 bytes of byte addressable memory at a time, which is 16 exabytes of memory. So if a machine has up to 4 gigs of RAM, a 32-bit OS is sufficient. However, if a machine has more than 4 gig of RAM, a 64-bit OS is a better choice to utilize the memory fully. A 32-bit OS will not be able to utilize the machine's more than 4 gig of RAM, and therefore it will limit the machine's performance. So, software compatibility. A 32-bit operating system can run only the program that are written with the 32-bit instruction set. A 32-bit program that can run on a 32-bit OS will also run on 64-bit OS. However, some exceptions include a few software programs which are designed specifically for 32-bit operating system. On the other hand, a program made for a 64-bit OS will not function smoothly on a 32-bit OS. Another reason for lack of compatibility is that some of the application's instructions set could be larger than 32-bit in size. This would mean that those instructions cannot be executed at all. So, key architectural differences. Virtual memory, 64-bit, 16 terabyte, 32-bit, 4 gig, which is gigabyte, paging file, 64-bit, 512 TB, which is terabyte, 32-bit, 16 TB, which is terabyte. Page pool, 64-bit, 128 gig, 32-bit, 47 MB, megabyte. Non-page pool. 64-bit, 128 gigabyte. Okay, so then the second one is 32-bit, 256 MB, which is megabyte. System cache, 64-bit, 1 terabyte, 32-bit, 1 gigabyte. Okay. Task 1. Verify a 64-bit operating system. Each operating system has to be either 32-bit or 64-bit operating system nowadays. Most operating systems are 64-bit. To verify a 64-bit operating system, perform the following steps. Step 1. Connect to PLAB Win 10, okay, which I am on right now. Then click the File Explorer icon. Okay. Then step 2, you are back on the File Explorer window. Right click on this PC in the left pane and select Properties. Okay, let's just go select this PC. Okay, I found it. Okay. Okay, on step 3, the view basic information about your computer page is displayed. In the system section, the right pane, notice that system type mentions 64-bit, which is shown over here. Okay, I guess we're done with that. Let's just close with this window. Okay, so let's proceed to the next page. Okay, so let's continue. Exercise 3, Workstation Operating Systems. Workstation operating systems are generally referred to as client operating system. A client operating system is installed on the desktop, laptops, tablets, and also mobile devices. A client operating system is designed to serve a single user at a time, even though multiple user accounts can exist on the system. Only one user can log on at any given point of time. A client operating system is not designed to perform any server roles such as web server, DNS server, or email server. Client operating system is designed to run on specific hardware which can be 32-bit or 64-bit. A client operating system such as Linux is open source and is free to download, whereas Windows is commercial and you have to purchase a license. In this exercise, you will be comparing a few of these operating systems based on their versions. Learning outcomes. After completing this exercise, you will be able to select a workstation operating system as per the need. Your devices. This exercise contains supporting materials about workstation operating systems. Select a workstation operating system as per the need. Not necessarily every client operating system will fit into your requirement. Here are some of the options that you may have to choose from. Microsoft Windows. Microsoft Windows is the most commonly used operating system over the years. Microsoft has released various versions of each version incorporated a few sets of features. Let's look at some of the pros and cons of Microsoft Windows OS. Pros. The first one is there are large number of applications available. Then the second one is since it is widely used by millions of users, finding help to resolve an issue can be fairly easy. Third one is it is easy for a novice user to navigate. Fourth one is it offers a set of utilities that can be used for system optimization. Fifth one is the most recent version of Windows offers backward compatibility with the old versions. The last one is it can run on a variety of hardware. Then the cons is there is a moderate risk of viruses. Second one is each version of Windows needs to be licensed. Third one is it can be prone to crash due to various reasons such as virus attacks. Apple Mac OS. Mac OS only runs on an Apple Mac system even though the user base for Mac OS is lower than Windows. It is known for its great visuals. Let's look at some of the pros and cons of Mac OS. Pros. It is mostly used for creative work such as graphic design. It is based on Unix, which means that it inherits the security architecture of Linux. It is praised for its excellent and intuitive user interface. It is less vulnerable to attack because fewer viruses for it exists. It is known for its stability and high level of performance. It runs on the x86 architecture. Cons. There are fewer applications available in comparison to Windows. Second one is a newer version is not backward compatible with the older hardware due to the internal structure and its embedded code. It is more expensive than Windows. It can only run on Apple hardware. Linux. Linux OS runs on almost anything. Most of servers in the world are running Linux versions. Are available from many different processors. Different versions are available that are optimized for smaller memory and slower processors. They adapt to the machine. They are installed on faster processors and more memory give you faster action. Then the pros is there are many different available types. You can handpick what you want or need. There are only a handful of viruses written for Linux, and therefore it is considered to be a secure client operating system. Then the third one is it can run on slower processors with less amount of memory. Fourth one is it is known to be lightweight. Fifth one is it is highly customizable. The code is open source and therefore can be tweaked and reused as a different product. Last one is most versions of Linux are free. Cons is more complex than Windows and Mac OS and therefore requires more expertise. Second one is it may be harder for a beginner level new to user to operate. Third one is troubleshooting help can be difficult to find. So let's proceed. So on exercise 4, comparison of cell phone tablet operating systems. Much like operating systems, there are many different cell phones and tablets manufactured by different vendors. Each vendor utilizes its own choice of operating system, which is the OS. These operating systems can differ greatly from one another based on their feature. For example, Android is used on a large number of mobile phones, tablets because it is open source. In this exercise, you will be comparing a few of these operating systems based on their features. Learning outcomes. After completing this exercise, you will be able to learn about cell phone operating system, your devices. This exercise contains supporting materials for cell phone tablet operating systems. Learn about the cell phone operating system Microsoft Windows. As the name suggests, Microsoft Windows OS is manufactured by Microsoft. This OS is not open source like Android. This means that only the manufacturer can make changes into the OS. This feature is blocked for the third-party developers. Microsoft Windows OS is not as widely used as the Android OS or iOS on phones and tablets. As a result, the range of Windows applications, which is in short apps, available on the Windows platform is limited in comparison to Android OS or iOS. Also, whenever a new version of Windows OS is released, it is released as complete package, not just a framework that customization can be added to Android. Android is an open source operating system developed by Google. It is also the most widely used mobile operating system in terms of the numbers of users. As Android is an open source OS, it is highly customizable. This means that you can have a basic Android framework known as stock Android, then heavily customize it to your needs. For example, you can include your own services like an extra layer of user interface running on top of the basic framework. However, a downside of open source operating systems is that they can be comparatively less secure than commercial systems. Whenever a new version of Android is released, it is the basic stock versions which is then added by the third-party developers. Another positive aspect of the OS is that because Android has a high number of users, there are large numbers of apps available. This also means that there are many more functionalities for users. So let's go on the iOS side. iOS is an operating system manufactured by Apple. The Mac OS is known for its high performance and stability because of the optimization of its hardware. Unlike Android, iOS is not free to use. Also, unlike Android, iOS is an open source OS. It is not open for customization by any developers besides Apple themselves. Since it can be manipulated by other developers, it is also known to be secure. Whenever a new version of iOS is released, it is a complete operating system. It is not released as a framework due to the limitations on third-party developers, meaning no customizations is available. Chrome OS. Chrome is an operating system developed by Google. It is essentially a combination of Linux kernel with Chrome OS running on top of it to facilitate access to the web. This is another OS that is not open source, meaning it is also closed up to third-party customization. Chrome OS has a select collection of local apps such as media players. Besides these applications, there is no resident app on the Chrome OS as the aim was to make it as light as possible. Due to this, without internet access, this OS has limited functionalities. The applications and user data both reside on the cloud. The fact that the Chrome Internet Browser is then running in this custom-made software mean that its efficiency is enhanced in comparison to a regular internet browser.